Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're going to crack open a brand new kit of tools. Ones designed specifically to help you build a better understanding of the world around you. We're building your digital society toolbox.
So let's be real for a second. It can feel pretty overwhelming, right? We're just flooded with information, with news, with all these digital interactions every single day. How in the world do you cut through all that noise and figure out what's actually going on? I mean, where do you even start?
Well, the answer isn't about trying to know everything. It's really about having the right skills and a solid framework to approach any topic you want. Think of it like this. You'd never try to build a house with just a hammer, would you? No way. You need a full toolbox. And that's exactly what we're going to put together right now. Okay, so let's dive into the good stuff. Every great craftsman, every expert, needs to know their tools inside and out. For us, these tools aren't things you can hold in your hand. They're a set of core attributes that really define a successful learner in this digital age.
So these are the 5 big ones, the foundational skills. You've got to be a critical thinker to slice through all that noise. You need to be a diligent researcher to find what's reliable. You need to be a collaborator because, let's face it, the best ideas hardly ever happen in a vacuum. You also have to be a clear communicator to share what you found. And finally, you got to be a disciplined self-manager to pull it all together. These aren't just buzzwords. They're the absolute essentials in your new kit.
Now, having all these tools is one thing, but knowing how to use them together, that's what gets you real results. In every great toolbox, there's usually that one master tool, the one that helps all the others work in harmony. For us, that tool is the inquiry process. This is your blueprint. It's a systematic guide that can take you from just a tiny spark of curiosity all the way to confidently sharing what you've learned. You could think of it as the engine that powers your entire investigation. So, what does this blueprint actually look like when you put it into practice? How does it systematically turn that messy curiosity into real clarity? All right, let's break down the 8 steps that make this whole process so incredibly powerful. Okay, so here it is, the entire map, all at a glance. Now, don't feel like you have to memorize all of this right now. Just think of this as our destination. You can see how it flows logically from a single idea all the way to sharing your findings. It might look a little complex, but I promise we're going to walk through it piece by piece. So the first 4 steps are really all about discovery and laying the groundwork. It kicks off with focus. You just pick a topic. Then you determine a really specific angle to make it more tangible. From there, you put on your researcher hat and you explore for sources. And finally, you investigate everything you found to understand its true impact. This is where you build that solid foundation. Then, the second half of the journey is all about turning that raw information into actual wisdom. You evaluate the pros and cons. This is where your thinker skills are absolutely critical. Then you take a step back and reflect on the bigger picture. This naturally leads you to recommend some potential actions. And finally, your inner communicator gets the spotlight as you share your work. You're turning private learning into public knowledge. So a blueprint is great, but how do you actually use it? Well, the secret is all about asking the right questions to guide your thinking. To show you what I mean, we're going to zoom in on 3 really critical moments in the process, starting with one of the most important ones. And that moment is step 2, determine inquiry focus. Seriously, getting this part right at the start will save you from so much aimless wandering later on. This is the step that gives your entire project a clear direction. See, these questions are designed to move you from some vague idea to a concrete investigation. Linking your topic to a real-life example, that's what makes your research feel relevant and gives it a clear path forward. Without this, you could just end up lost in a sea of abstract information. Once you have that sharp focus, it's time to explore. But this step is about way more than just random Googling. It's about being really strategic with how you search for information. These questions force you to be that critical researcher we talked about. Are you just reading summaries, or are you actually looking at the original documents? And even more importantly, are your sources reliable?
This step is all about building a foundation of quality information, not just a giant pile of it.
Okay, now let's jump ahead to one of the most challenging, but honestly one of the most rewarding parts of the whole process. Step 5, where you evaluate everything you found. And this just perfectly illustrates the goal of true understanding. It's not about finding information that just confirms what you already think. Nope. It's about using your thinker skills to develop a balanced perspective, seeing both the good and the bad, and even thinking ahead to what some potential solutions might be.
Now, here's a crucial secret that this reveals. While the blueprint looks like a nice, neat straight line, real research is, well, it's rarely that clean. You might get to the evaluation stage and suddenly realize you need more sources, which sends you right back to the explore step. And you know what? That flexibility is a feature, not a bug. It's what makes sure your final work is thorough and really strong.
So when you put all of this together, the core learner attributes and the 8-step inquiry process, what do you really have? Well, you've basically got a new research superpower. And this right here is the ultimate takeaway. This system gives you the confidence to tackle any topic, no matter how complicated it seems. It gives you a reliable structure that turns the chaos of information into a clear, manageable project. It empowers you to build real, lasting understanding.
The toolbox is officially yours. You have the core skills, and you have the master plan for putting them to work. So the only question left is, what complex topic are you going to choose to understand first?